Hi everyone, welcome to today's live with me, Antje Roggemann, and Meglio about Reiki and its healing benefits. Hi Katharina, thank you for joining. I'm waiting for Michael to come in and join and send me a request so that we can have a conversation about Reiki. Michael, you need to send me a request to join. Here we go. Okay, let me go this. Yes. Drum roll. Hi, Gabby. Yay. Okay.
Perfect.
What's going on? Great.
Yeah.
I was kind of nervous because we haven't done it for a while.
Yeah, it has been a while, but I got it.
Good. Okay, great. Hi.
Hi.
So, welcome to you. Welcome to everyone who has been joining already. We want to talk today about a topic that we love both
Yes.
and that we often talk about with each other. I just thought we could share one of our conversations with everyone and let everyone know about Reiki and its healing benefits for humans and animals.
Perfect.
So, just short introduction myself and then you. So, I'm Antje Roggemann. I'm a medium and a trauma healer and Reiki master and teacher. I do healing sessions with angel symbols, but I also do give Reiki attunements online for all Reiki levels. There's Reiki level 1, 2, and 3 and 4. And yeah, so that's just a short introduction from me. I also do readings and all sorts of things. If you want to know more, just go to my website. Link is in my bio. And Michael was one of my Reiki students.
Yes. Yeah. You were my teacher. And yeah, so my name is Michael Meglio. I'm a Reiki master. Antje was my teacher. And I offer distance Reiki treatments to anywhere in the world. I also offer tarot and oracle card readings if you're interested in that. And yeah, so my life is all about Reiki and spirituality now. I'm 29 years old and I'm from Montreal, Canada. So
yeah,
a little from me.
mm-hmm. Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, from me, I'm from Germany, but I'm currently a digital nomad traveling through Europe. So let me just, for anyone who doesn't know Reiki, give a short introduction what it is and about the Reiki levels. So Reiki is basically an energy healing. You can method technique that was that came from Japan, and it's pretty easy. Like, you get Reiki attunements. They are basically there to open your chakras and attune you to the different levels of Reiki. And then you are a channel. You are a channel for divine healing energy, and you can, depending on the level you have, you can do in-person treatments, you can do distance treatments on humans and animals. You can do room clearings, all sorts of things. You can give treatments to water and food and anything. Michael even recovered his MacBook from, or his, you can share that story later.
Well, it's a funny story.
Yeah, it is a funny story. It just came to me. So Reiki level 1 is for the physical body. So you learn physical treatment, like on the person itself, and also, of course, on yourself. You learn all the positions on the whole body, and then you can give treatments to yourself or others. That's level 1. Level 2 is you learn Reiki symbols. One of the symbols emphasizes and increases the power of the energy that you give in a Reiki session. Another symbol helps to access the mental and emotional level so that you can clear old beliefs or even trauma. And another Reiki symbol helps you to do distance treatments. So with Reiki level 2, you can already do distance treatments wherever. And Reiki level 3 is the master level, where you learn another symbol which enhances anything you do. And Reiki 4 is the teacher level, where you learn how to give attunements. And you can give attunements like online or via distance, because that's what Reiki is all about. It's an energy healing technique. Yes. And you have received all your attunements from me, and all on a distance, because that's what I do. And if you like, you can share. If anyone has questions throughout our conversation, just put them in the comments so that we can see them. And welcome to everyone who is joining. So maybe you'll share about the Reiki attunements, and also what it did for you.
Sure. Yes. So yeah, originally I was seeing you for your healing sessions that you offer. Mm-hmm. You told me that you offered Reiki attunements, and a long time ago, a friend of me spoke about his family member being attuned to Reiki, and that's something. When I heard that 10 years ago, I said that's something I always want to learn. Mm-hmm. So I trusted you. I knew you, and I knew I needed someone I trusted. So I said, okay, I'll do the Reiki attunements, and I knew this was something that I always wanted to learn, and I always wanted to have in my life, even though I've never had a Reiki attunement before, mm-hmm. Or anything, or a session or anything like that. I always wanted to learn. So yeah, it was all online, and I found that to be like really good. You sent me all the material first, and you told me to read through it, and then we had a session that was about, I think, an hour and a half or an hour. And because I went through all the material, I was able to ask you questions about it, and different things like that. And also you gave me the attunement, yeah, which was a pretty incredible experience, because it changed my life, really. Mm-hmm. From that one attunement, you know. So yeah, after the first attunement, I really felt lighter. It's as if like a light was activated in me, and I felt a lot of positive energy just from that one attunement. Mm-hmm. And then once you get attuned, you have to give yourself Reiki for 21 days after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how it works when you get attuned. And while I was doing that, certain things came up for me, and this is normal for a Reiki, for getting Reiki on yourself, because it's unblocking things in your body, and as a result, certain things come up. So one of the things was that I had nosebleeds, and that was really weird, because when I was much younger, I used to get them a lot, and I actually got my nose cauterized 5 times because of that. And so, yeah, so it's like you burn a part of your nose. So it's kind of like a traumatic thing when you're a kid, you know. Mm-hmm. So that came up for me. But also, what really changed my life, was, you know, when you're giving yourself Reiki, you're also opening yourself up to the guidance from your guardian angels and spirits. And something that was coming up for me was the fact that I had done a lot of, you know, I had done a lot of drugs in my past, and it was showing me the effects I've had on other people as well as myself, by my history of doing that. And that was a powerful moment for me. I even cried, because it was such a huge moment for me, and I realized that like I should probably stop. And yeah, so that was another big thing for me. But also on a more positive note, I just felt very positive, and the energy is always going through you. So I always thought that it would stop at one point, and because that's, you know, the life goes up and down, and you have your dark moments and light moments, but there was always this sense of having like a center, and it was always very positive. So
Mm.
it was a very interesting feeling because I was feeling good naturally, and that's something I haven't experienced for a very long time.
Okay.
So it was, yeah. So, and it being online was I recommend doing it online too, because you don't need to be with someone in person. You know, that's one of the cool things about Reiki. You don't have to be there in person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so
That's
it was,
why you also you also give the treatments online.
yeah,
And I
exactly.
can share about that later
Yeah,
because I got one.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, and yeah, and I got all my attunements from you, and you guided me through that process, because there was some moments where I was like, well, I'm not sure if I want to be attuned again, because it does affect you. It affects your life. It's not just like, okay, I'm attuned. It's, you know, you're raising your vibration, and when you raise your
Mhm.
vibration, new timelines come into your life, and more opportunities come into your life, and you know, things change in a positive way, but
Yeah.
things change. And
Hmm.
so I was a little bit worried about being attuned to Reiki, the second level. And, and you guided me through that, and you said, no, I think this is something that you really need to do. And you told me about the contraction before expansion. And so,
Yes. Oh
yeah.
yeah.
So I was nervous about doing that, but you guided me through that process, and I'm so happy that I learned like I got all my attunements from you, because
Hmm.
it has changed my life in a very positive way,
Hmm.
and a lot of other things have also come into my life that weren't there previously. So yeah, that's another thing about being attuned to Reiki. You might have some interest in different things. Like for me, one of the things that came with learning Reiki was playing the guitar. I really wanted to learn how to play the guitar, and
Hmm.
and it's just like this feeling you have that you want to express yourself, or you want to be interested. You have interest in certain things, and
Hmm.
so so I found a guitar and I started playing, and that has done something on a soul level for me. I might not be very good right now, but you
That's fine.
know. But
That's totally fine. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but interest, things come into positive things come into your life, you know,
Yeah.
as well as releasing things from your past, releasing emotional blockages.
Yeah. That's yeah. Of course, because you, Katarina saying listening to you too makes me feel very calm. Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining. We are talking about Reiki and its healing benefits for humans and animals. Yeah, because you are anytime, like with a Reiki attunement and treatment, no matter, you're bringing in fresh new energy into your body and energy field, and at the same time, and because of that, you're throwing out old energies, and of course also old emotions or old experiences, trauma. In your case, the addiction went away over time,
Yeah, yeah,
which which was pretty mind blowing.
yeah. Life changing, really.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and that's what it does. It's not just for one. Reiki is not just for you if you want to be a healer. For most people, Reiki is actually something for self-empowerment, because you can give yourself healing energy at all times wherever you are. You don't need to have anything with you. You just connect it, and
Yeah.
then you put your hands on your body, or if you want to help someone else, do it for them. And you have that always with you. And that's why I'm giving attunements, because I want to empower people to be able to help themselves and help others.
Yeah.
And yes, it is something that changes your life. It changes your life because it changes your vibration. And
Exactly.
it's like personal spiritual development, not just fresh energy.
Yeah, it's not just like a, it's not like you don't really think about it and okay, I'm attuned. Like
No.
you will feel different after, and your life will probably be different as well. And it's not at all a bad thing. It's, you know, it's probably the best thing I ever did for myself because it cured an addiction I had for 10 years, and I thought I would never be cured of it, and it really helped me get rid of that, and it's really incredible. I mean, doing your healing sessions and being attuned to Reiki both has helped me, but Reiki has really helped me move past all of that and release the blockages in my mind really that I thought would never go away.
And I did know nothing about that. He just shared that at some time during the Reiki journey. I had no clue about that before, so I absolutely didn't know about it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it was something that I always whenever I never thought I would ever go away, and it finally did. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty incredible experience.
And Reiki really, I've had that conversation with someone else recently who was talking about giving it, like teaching it to children. It's really not complicated, and it's nothing. It's not a mind thing. You have to make the experience. You have to do it, to learn it and to apply it to yourself and to others. And then you can literally have some mind-blowing experiences that you didn't expect. I also had that. Also with you, but also in the past with animal healing and others. Sometimes you just don't know what healing energy can do when the mind is not in the way.
Yeah, yeah. Because in most of the modern world, we're focused on our mind and getting things from our intellect, whereas this is a very intuitive approach to things. So you get the feedback from the person you're giving Reiki to. You're getting feedback from your own body, and and when you become attuned to Reiki, you become more attuned to the subtle energies around you, and then you become more sensitive to energy.
Yeah.
So you're able to pick up on things that you weren't necessarily able to before. So that's an important thing too, that when you become attuned to Reiki, you become more sensitive to energy in general. Yeah, and it just comes to you. Like you said, it's not a complicated thing. It doesn't have to involve reading many books or studying or anything that we're normally taught to do when we're trying to learn a new skill. This is actually because you become a channel for Reiki energy. It's coming to you from source, you know, from the universal source.
Yeah.
So that's a very personal thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always say, and that's where it comes to, everyone is going to apply it differently. I always say to everyone, to every student that I give attunements to, I can give you the attunement and I can give you the teaching. So everyone gets material from me for Reiki 1, 2, 3, and 4, so that you know exactly how, what you have to do, pictures of all the body positions and everything you can do with Reiki. But then you literally have to try it and you have to apply it. And you have to listen to your own guidance. I can give you the attunements, I can open you up, but then everyone has to listen to their own guidance. And that's when it gets interesting for me too, because every one of my students gets different guidance and they're doing it all differently. And that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It just shows you that, you know, because you're attuned, you will get your own way of doing it, not necessarily someone else, and that's really cool. So everyone's a little bit different. Everyone's approach is a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah. So why don't you share your approach that you got guided to do?
Yeah.
Because
so yeah.
How I just a short introduction. How I knew distance treatments in the past was just like it was a 15-minute treatment that I would receive, for instance, from my own Reiki master and teacher, that attuned me like, oh gosh, 12 years ago in the meantime, kind of 13, I think, or I don't know, it's even longer now. So that's how I knew distance treatment sessions. So it was just 15 minutes and that was it. And then came Michael and his guidance and it got different.
Yes, exactly. That's what's written in the material. Like when you normally give distance treatments, it's for 15 minutes, maybe a bit longer. But I always thought, well, why can't I give someone a full body treatment, which is an hour? And that was something that was coming strongly for me. It was like, no, I can do this. This is something that, like, and I was just like, okay, well, I'll go with it and I'll see where this goes. So I messaged you and I said, do you want to try this? Because this is something that is really strongly coming to me, you know, and yeah, you accepted and
I was really curious and I said yes.
Yeah. So yeah, so a 15-minute session versus a 60-minute session is much different. You're getting Reiki and at all the positions of your body, and it's also having the maximum amount of effect of the Reiki healing that you can give. So you want to explain what the session was like?
Yeah. So we had a chat before about what was going on with me or in my life and in my body before we then went offline and Michael started the treatment. And I could feel that starting, like when the energy came in, and then it got more and more and more and more and more. And Reiki energy is always, however you give or receive it, it will always go to the places in the body and the energy field that is needed most. And when you get a personal session, you can see or feel where the person who is giving you the treatment is in terms of position. I could not feel that with the distance treatment. So I was laying on my bed at home, had my eyes closed, while Michael was in Canada giving me treatment. And I was in Germany at that time. And I could feel the energy coming in and getting stronger and stronger, and it would go to all the parts in my body that were tense. So it would go to certain muscles that were really tense, and they started to release over time. And then at some point, I also started to get visions and pictures. And in the end, I cried a lot because emotions got released. And that is something that just happens with those treatments. It's on all levels. It's a treatment on all levels. It's not just the physical, it's also emotional, mental, spiritual level. And anything on all those levels can happen, and release and relaxation can happen on all levels. And I had it all. Like, it worked, the energy worked through my body, through all the parts that were really tense. And they started to relax and relax and relax even more. And then I had received a lot of pictures, visions, guidance, and emotional release because all pain came up. And I was pretty done after that. And I needed some time to recover before we could have another chat to catch up on what was happening. I really needed to have a few minutes to recover because I had a big release emotionally through the session. So, and for that, to be really honest, for me, it's really comfortable to be at home in my own place and in my own bed when receiving treatments like that and then having a reaction like that. Because afterwards I can just lie down and give my body more time to rest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I like the distance approach a bit more than the in-person approach.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've given in-person Reiki before, a full body session, and it didn't have the same effect as the distance treatment. And like you said, it's because someone is in your energy field right there, and
That's a question for you. Yeah,
Oh,
explaining how you do it
one
with.
moment.
Yeah, so Katharina's asking what did you do, Michael? Wait, he's going to explain that in a minute. I just want to read the question. What did you do, Michael, during this treatment? Just sit and think of sending Reiki over to the other person. No, a bit different. Explain.
Yeah. So normally when you give, I think, a 15-minute or 30-minute treatment, it's normally you just put your hands over the picture of someone or whatever you're using as a surrogate, and you send Reiki that way. But this approach, I asked for Antje's name, address, where she will be at the time of the treatment, and her birthday, and I put that tag on my body, and I use myself as the surrogate to send the Reiki. So I was able to do all of the positions that you learn about in Reiki 1 and send them to her that way. So as I was doing each hand position, I was sending that to her in that way. So it was like giving myself a full body treatment, but also while I was doing it for myself, I would notice that I would have different pains around my body that I normally wouldn't have. Okay. So I was able to tap into your energy field and see and do it that way. And it lasted for 60 minutes. So that was the guidance and that I got to do, and it seemed to work in that way. Yeah. And it's interesting that you could feel that, because I had that way back when I was giving treatments to others. I would always, and also to animals, I would feel their pain in my body. Yeah, exactly. That's because you're tapping into their energy field. And that's one of the things about Reiki. When you're giving it, you can tap into something, no matter what it is, a person, a plant, an animal, and you get feedback from them. You're like, okay, this is where it's hurting more. You need to put more Reiki. You need to put more energy there. And you can give feedback after the treatment. Like I offer a 15-minute, or it can go longer than that. After the treatment, we talk about my insights and how you're feeling and all that stuff. So that's how I do it. And for me, that was a completely new experience, because in the past I only knew the 15-minute short ones, and that's a big difference to a 1-hour one. It's a big difference. And I can really recommend getting a treatments from Michael, because that was, for me, really powerful. I totally did not expect all of this to happen. And I'm not new to Reiki, but at that time I hadn't had a Reiki session for a long time, and never a 1-hour distance treatment. And that's the interesting thing, and why I always say to each student, I can give you the Reiki attunement, but please listen to your own guidance how to do that afterwards. No problem. Michael, thank you for answering my question. No problem. So for anyone who has been joining, we are talking about Reiki and its healing benefits for humans and animals. What else do we want to share? Because there was a lot more. We kept talking last time for hours. Well, I know you wanted to talk about the animal stroke that you helped the animal heal from, and I also have a story about one who I healed from helped get better from a stroke as well. That was one of my miracle healings in the past, when I worked as an animal healer, but also I had a lot of animals. So I had rabbits and 2 cats and a dog. And one day we had an outdoor enclosure for the rabbits. They were all outside in a group, safe outdoor enclosure. And I came and I found one of them, and I knew I had been there less than an hour before. So I knew that it had happened within less than an hour, which is always good to find them fast. So I found one of my rabbits, a female. She was just sitting like at the door. I got a really weird feeling, and then I saw that she was actually looked like half passed out. Her head was dangling, her eye was rolling, and I was like, something is very, very wrong.
Now, I'm not some, usually you don't take rabbits out of groups, that just gives problems. But in this case, I knew I had to. And so I took her out. She wasn't even doing anything, like running away or nothing, she hardly responding. And because I was doing Reiki so often, as soon as I had her in my hands, it started.
Yeah.
My hands were immediately giving Reiki. And I took her inside and also called my naturopath as a backup because I needed help. That's always something, even if you are a healer yourself, I always say, if there's anything you have or your family has, bring in someone else, because you can have blind spots, or if you have an animal and it's sick, you might just not be able to do anything in full capacity because you're the mom role or the dad role.
That's true.
So I just sat with her, giving her Reiki all the time until my naturopath called and gave me other instructions. And so we combined Reiki with some homeopathic treatments and also chlorella algae, which dissolve blood clots, because it looked like she had had a stroke. And that would become clearer over the coming days, because you could then see that one side of her head and neck were not innervated anymore. So there was no nerve function, and the head was being pulled over to the side where the nerves were still functioning and the muscles were still strong, and here nothing was happening. So about like in the beginning, after about 2 hours, I had to put her back because she is a group rabbit, and she started getting uncomfortable with me having her out. And so I put her back and would give her frequent treatments with Reiki as well as the other things. I also had to go in, feed her, because like we didn't know for a week whether she would make it. For a week, I really didn't know whether she would pull through. And after that, it was like kind of like she had made a decision. And from that on, I was really impressed. Like, really, because you could see that she wanted, even though this was still not functioning. So I was giving her treatments every day. I was also trying to massage the muscles because they got really hard. There was still no nerve function for a while. And I had to go in several times a day to give her treatments to make sure to clean her, because the head would make her spin in circles and she would roll over and all sorts of stuff. But she would also start to, I could watch her, and she was sitting somewhere, like hardly really concentrating hard, and then running off like boom to break through this circle that the head would create. So she would really focus and then run straight and then roll over. But the interesting thing, and I kept treating her several times a day for about 5 weeks, I think. After 5 weeks, no one would see that this rabbit had had a stroke. The only one who saw that was me, because I knew her so well. And one tiny little piece at the mouth was still where the nerve function had not come back. Everywhere else, it came back over those 5 weeks. So she was like a normal rabbit after 5 weeks of pretty intense treatment with Reiki and like massaging and all sorts of stuff. Like after 5 weeks, you could not see that there had been any issue apart from me seeing this little piece at the mouth, but that was really it. Everything else was like normal. So
Really amazing.
one of the mind-blowing things, yeah.
Yeah, it's a healing energy that can heal anything, or at least help anything.
Help. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
At some point, it was a decision that she had to make. So in the first week, I really didn't know. But then after that, it was like, okay, go. Katharina is saying, I have to leave now. Unfortunately, I will watch the rest in the replay for sure. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences.
Oh,
You're welcome. Yes, you
well,
can watch it in the replay afterwards. We'll share the replay.
you're welcome.
Yeah. And you have just had that in the last year that you have given distance treatment to someone who had a stroke in your family, right?
Yes, exactly. So the story with me is that I was scheduled to learn Reiki 2 with you at a certain point in time, and a few days before that, my wife's father had a stroke. And this was a very hard experience for my wife and me, especially because, I had known him for a long time, and, he obviously wasn't the same person as he was maybe like, before. When you have a stroke, it's a very different experience for someone. So I was nervous about learning Reiki 2 after this, but you said, no, you should learn. And you helped me through that. And because I learned Reiki 2, I was able to send him distance Reiki. So it was kind of like a divine timing kind of thing.
Yeah.
And after that, I got the guidance to send him Reiki a couple of times a week at the beginning. And then as time went on, I would do it once a week and then once a month. And this went on for about 9 months, and then up to a year. I would do it. So I gave it to him for a whole year. And I noticed just about every week he would get a little bit better. And this is obviously in conjunction with like him getting treatment from a professional who he would see every week. But I noticed that he got a lot better, and at the beginning, we weren't really sure if he would recover, because when at the beginning it looks very dire, and you don't know how people will recover, and obviously that he had trouble speaking, and as time went on, he learned how to do everything again, and he was even able to go by himself to a conference in the States, and for a few days and come back, and he was able to do that, and he was also still able to keep his job throughout the whole. So
Okay.
I feel like, because I've had someone in my family who had a stroke, and they have I have a really hard time speaking, and he was able to recover in a much different way. And I think that's because of the Reiki that I gave him, and also the treatments that he got on his own.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about Reiki, it'll help, but you also need help from other people too to make like the full healing experience. So with something like a stroke, Reiki will definitely help, but you also need other things to have the full healing process. But it was really amazing to see him recover over the span of the year, and him get better and do different things. And I just kept giving him Reiki, and I kept getting the guidance to do it once a week or
Yeah.
once a month, and it was really an incredible experience. And now he's a lot better than he was a year ago. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it can definitely help just about anything.
Yeah, that's true. And also, you can't do anything wrong, because I always teach the most important thing before you do that is to connect with your own higher self, guardian angels, and spirit guides, and with the clients or the persons or the animals, higher self, guardian angels, and spirit guides. And really, their spirit team will direct how much they will receive, how much they are able to receive. There's also something like, you could also give kind of depot Reiki into someone's energy field, or on like a depot bank, so that they can pull from that when they need it and when they are open. to receive that. You can't do anything wrong with that, with including the guardian angels, the spirit guides, and the higher self. And they will direct how somebody receives it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, he's my father-in-law now. He's not a very spiritual person, so I wasn't really able to tell him like I'm gonna give you Reiki. So
Yeah.
the way you do that is you ask for the higher self of the person, which is a pretty interesting experience too. And you ask them if they would like treatment before you send it. That's one of the things about Reiki, is that you should always ask their higher self if they're not consciously aware. You know, so and every time I asked them, it was always a yes. So I'm gonna do it. And it's a very clear thing. It's not like fuzzy, it's very clear.
No,
It's
it's either yes or no. Yeah.
yeah, and you get that.
Yeah.
And so because of that, every time I did it, and it was only 15-minute sessions each time. It wasn't an hour, it was 15 minutes. And something would tell me, okay, that's it, no more, and that's it for today, and you know, that would be it.
Yeah. That's interesting actually, because then you get feedback from the person how much, or from the higher self, how much they are able to take. That's pretty similar to what I know, and I think you too, from animals, who also tell you very clearly when they are done or when they want more. So
Yeah.
I remember having both, like in the past. It's a bit different depending on which animal you treat. So my cats were more like, no. I could only give my male cat, I could only give him distance treatments because he was too sensitive to receive it directly. He would just run away. Too much to handle. But dogs are very different. And I've had dogs like come to me and like attach themselves to my leg to get Reiki. That was a dog that had just had surgery. And when I put my hands on him, I started feeling sick because he felt sick. So he was sick from felt sick from the anesthesia. And so I just gave him Reiki, and after 10 minutes he left. And I was like, okay. And then he started drinking water, and then he came back and attached himself to me again. I gave him another round of Reiki, and he started to feel better pretty quickly over the evening. He did that several times. I never went to him. I just sat with his owners in the living room, and he just came to me, came to my legs, attached himself to me basically, and then I just gave him Reiki, and then he went away when he was done, and came back later when he needed more. And you could see that he started feeling better. He started drinking water, and it got better over the course of the evening. So that's really interesting with animals. And you've had something similar with your own dog.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I haven't had any experiences with cats, but with my own dog, there was a few times where he would just come to me when he had, like, I remember he strained his neck at one point, and he would just come to me and sit in front of me. Like, need your help. And so I was like, okay, and I put my hands on his neck, and then for about 10 minutes, then he would leave. And then I was like, okay, he doesn't want it anymore. And then he did that 2 other times again. And after the third time, he was pretty much better again. He was running around, and he was just being himself again. So it was pretty quick that it was able to help him. I don't take care of my dog all the time. I take care of him sometimes. So I'm not able to give it to him all the time. But when I do take care of him, I notice sometimes when he has like an upset stomach, or he had something, he had like a lot of anxiety, he would come sit next to me, and I would give Reiki to him. And once I actually gave it to him for 40 minutes. He just moving.
Okay.
And I noticed after that, he kind of woke up, and he felt very relaxed. And they seem to really like it. They really like the energy, and they know that they somehow know that you also are able to help them.
Yeah, that's true. That's the interesting thing, because I never walked in there saying, "Hey, I can give you Reiki." He just came to me.
Exactly.
But they sense that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes it takes more. So there's also a kind of a phenomena that, like, I think all people who give body treatments know, and sometimes it can just happen that you like feel like glued to a place on the body,
Yeah.
because that part needs so much energy. Can happen when you give Reiki, can happen when someone gives osteopathy or a massage. I think most people who give body treatments know that. And
Yeah.
like you just said, it was 40 minutes, and I've had something similar. I've done, I don't know how long, kind of like hospice care or helping dying animals pass over for about 13 years, my own and others. And in that instance, as an animal healer, I've had one evening I just got a call from a woman who had a Dalmatian, I think. Yeah. And there was a lot of fear coming over in the phone call, and the feeling of death for me. But I also got the feeling not yet. And so I went to visit there later. And the dog was really not feeling well. They had been at the vet as well, who had given all sorts of treatments, but it had not really gotten better. He had like a pinched nerve in the back and couldn't really sit up anymore, and also not walk. And so I just put my hands on the dog and started giving Reiki, and I could not get off that dog for another half an hour or more. Like, I felt glued to the body.
Yeah.
And so I just stayed there, and while I did that, I also got messages from the dog for the owners. That was pretty interesting. So I delivered a few messages from the dog, and it was about passing on and kind of like, look out for another dog. Don't close yourself. Maybe I send you a new one, or I come back, something like that, which they found pretty interesting. Me too. I had never had that before.
Yeah.
And so I just gave, I think it was her Reiki for at least half an hour. And I literally felt like I could not take my hands off that body. And at some point she started, the body started convulsing, and she got up and she threw up all the stuff kind of that the vet had given her, obviously. So it was like the Reiki treatment had detoxed her body, and after that she was fine. And she was walking again, which she didn't before. She was like walking and suddenly got happy and walking around, and I was like, ooh, okay. Well, that was interesting. And 1 week later, I got the message that she had passed peacefully overnight, and they had spent the whole week with her and in the living room, and really had taken time together, and she just passed peacefully. So that was, something that helped in the end to help her pass and make it easier for the whole family, and also release the pain from the body. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, because Reiki is moving the energy through the body, and it releases and detoxes whatever body is not whatever is not needed or doesn't want.
Yeah,
And yeah, that's something else you learn in Reiki, how to help animals and people also pass over peacefully, which I've never done personally, but that's something that you learn when you get attuned to Reiki. You learn how to help someone in that way, and that's a pretty special thing to do, also.
it is.
Yeah, because
For a while. Yeah.
you're helping the one of the most difficult things in life. So make it a bit easier.
It's not so much the animal usually has a problem with it. More the owners.
Yeah.
And in this case, it was nice that I could help and establish a communication and help them. Yeah. And I've done that with a cat and their family too. So yeah, I've quite a lot of experience of helping animals pass my own as well. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Reiki is not just for people and animals, it's also for just about anything. So I like to share
Share
a little
that.
story that I have with a computer that I have, just to show that you can use Reiki. It permeates everything. It's the universal life force, so you can affect anything with it. And so I think this is after I learned Reiki 1. This is my first level. My wife, who was just starting school, dropped her laptop on the floor. And you know when it makes a loud sound and you know something's definitely wrong with it. I was like, okay, this is not good. You need your computer for school, you know? And when we opened it, it wasn't turning on. We plugged it in. Nothing was working. It was, we were like, oh, we have to bring it somewhere. But I was like, something just came to me. I'm like, you know what, just hold on a second. So I opened it. I put my left hand underneath the computer. And for some reason, I was like, I'm just going to run my finger right across all the keys. And right after 5 seconds after I did that, the whole computer turned on again. It was just like, okay, and it wasn't connected to the power or anything. And it turned on. And ever since I did that, it had no problems. And it's been working normally. And we honestly thought it was broken. It fell from like a 3-foot drop, and it was, you know, we felt that, and it wasn't a new computer either. So it's interesting. Like you can, and I've heard stories of people affecting dishwashers and different things like that with Reiki, and
Yeah.
it's one of the things that really got me excited about it. I was like, wow, this is crazy. It's I'm quite sure it's because I was attuned to Reiki and I had my hands, and that's where it all comes from, your hands, you know. And I helped the computer restart again.
Yeah.
So that was one of the coolest things about learning. But also it's helped some of my plants. I have a lot of plants at home, and I noticed that when some of them are not doing so well, I was like, okay, well, let me see if I can give it Reiki and see what happens. And I've given it to 3 different plants now. And what happens usually is it kind of has like a stage of like 1 or 2 weeks where you're not sure if it's going to get better or not. And then things start falling off of it. And then it just regrows. And it's like alive again.
Okay.
Yeah. Or I knew which branches to cut and how to fix it based on the Reiki that I gave it. So it's really cool. It can affect anything and help just about anything in life.
Yeah.
And you'll get the guidance on how to do that.
Yeah. And that's really the interesting thing. Like you learn it, and I can give you that's just a little bit material that is theory, and I give you the attunements, and then it's basically it's a bit like a child just exploring with it.
Yeah, it's a whole
playing with it and just using it, and as you said, you have to use it for 21 days on yourself afterwards, with all the levels that you get attuned to. That's for self-discipline, but also to bring in new energy and move out old energy from your energy field and basically raise your vibration. And then it's about literally listening to your guidance and how to use it in your life, for yourself, for your family, for your clients, friends, the house, the garden, the animals, whatever. It is, you can use it for everything. You can also do clearing rooms with it, like energy clearing of rooms. I also did something last year. I was still living in flat share, and someone was bringing in conflict, and I suddenly got guided to literally plaster the whole flat with all the Reiki symbols, and I had never seen anyone do this before. And so I just sat down and took paper, like all over my floor, and then I started drawing the symbols on pieces of paper really big. And then I went through the whole flat and literally plastered them everywhere. inside the front door, in the kitchen, in the fridge, underneath the washing machine, in my room at the door, and also
Everywhere.
at the wall to the room where the conflict person was, like literally everywhere.
Yeah.
And like, I couldn't believe what happened. I got 2 questions from the people living with me, and that was it. And I just explained, this is to bring peace. And after that, we had peace. And I honestly couldn't believe it. It was like the energy changed as soon as I had it all put up. And after that was peace in the whole flat. And before that, there was like the craziest conflicts I couldn't believe someone was bringing. And then suddenly there was peace. And over the coming months, the whole thing dissolved. And I ended all the contracts and stuff. But that was a guidance I received, and I had never done that before or learned that from anyone. I just received the guidance to draw all the Reiki symbols and put them over the whole flat. And the effect was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it does have a clearing effect, Reiki. It definitely has, like, it'll remove a lot of negative or toxic energy, and it will leave only positive energy. And if that means people leaving or, doing stuff like that, it really has a clearing effect on that it is interacted with.
Yeah. And I also then went through the whole flat and cleared all the rooms with the symbols. That is something you can do with the symbols too. You can clear the rooms. You can clear a house. And I did that as well. And I found that also very, very helpful, especially in that situation. Yeah.
I personally haven't tried that just yet, but I know there are people who do that for businesses.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And that actually unblocks the energy in the store or wherever they are, and it helps bring in new clients, new opportunities, and people offer this, and I'm sure it does have an effect, and it does have a positive effect, and it works for you.
Yeah, you can also use it, as I said, on food, or you can put your hands on a glass of water and give it Reiki and then drink it, and it changes the energy. I'm currently doing it with my 2023 visions. I take some time in the evening and just pull up my visions on the phone, and then I give Reiki on them. That's just something, that's a new one for me. I just got that guidance a few days ago, and I was like, okay, I'll do that. So I'm currently giving my 2023 visions Reiki every evening for 5 or 10 minutes. So that's a new one as well. And there's always something new coming. It's an energy healing is something you need to do, to apply and make experiences with. And when you work with your own guidance, with angels, archangels, ascended masters, as I always teach, you will get new guidance frequently to try out new things, to do new things with new people, animals, or in any kind of situation, and just use Reiki for all sorts of purposes.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You mentioned to me, like, when I was learning with you, go with your guidance and see what comes up, because you said don't really look at and read too many things into Reiki. Try to do it from yourself. Try to get it from your own guidance.
Yeah.
And I learned that this is really true, because the energy is always changing. So something that was written 40 or even 30 years ago, that was in a completely different energy. The Earth's energy is much different now. And so that affects Reiki. Yeah. So something that maybe took longer before is now taking much shorter time. Because when you do Reiki, like, well, why do I have to do it for this amount of time? Why can't it be this amount of time? And that's just because the energy is different. So that's why it's always good to have your own guidance and to connect with yourself and see what's coming in for you specifically, and not rely on everyone else's information and techniques. Although you can learn from other people and different tips and techniques. I have learned a few things over the past year. Yeah. But that's it. That's just like anything. Like, you look at something, you see what you can take, what resonates with you, and you make that a part of your life. And
Yeah.
if something doesn't resonate, that's it. You don't take that. But there
Yeah.
have been a few things where I weren't aware of when I learned, when I read all the material, and I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to add that into it. And you see, and you try it out. And the
Yeah.
more things you try, you see what works, and you go on like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a journey.
Yes, and that's what sticks. It's not the thing that you read what sticks with you. It's the thing you experience that sticks with you, because that's innate. It becomes part of your energy field, and you know it's just something that you've experienced and the knowing. And with the energy vibration, that has changed significantly. That I can I can attest that, because when I learned it in 2006 till 2009. The energy was very different, much heavier. It took more time. And when I got guidance to start giving attunements in, I think, 2020, I had a chat with my own Reiki master and teacher about that, because I had the feeling that I could simplify it much more, and that it would be much easier and faster today. And she agreed with me. So I made the material as easy as possible, so that it contains all the information, but not something that overwhelms you, so that you basically learn the techniques and the symbols and then rely on your own guidance and experience. Because it is much faster today. The energies are so different than back then.
Definitely. Yeah. The energy seemed to be more dense years ago, and now it seems to be picking up in pace. Like I find the time is even moving faster, and energy is just quicker and different, and it's just completely different. So as a result, and Reiki being an energy healing modality, it's going to definitely affect that too in a different way.
Yeah, yeah. The energy you use and channel are very different than they were 10, 15 years ago. Today, they are much faster, and yeah.
Yeah, things seem to happen quicker, and it's completely different.
Yeah, yeah. So we are already an hour, I think 5 minutes in. I think
Right.
it's probably good to finish here, so that it doesn't get too long for someone who wants to watch it later.
Sure.
And also, just for everyone who has been joining, you can watch it later. I will share it after. I will also upload it to YouTube. So I am giving Reiki attunements only. So if you want to learn Reiki yourself, you can do that with me. I give all attunements, Reiki level 1, 2, 3, and 4, together with the teaching material, and I teach you everything that I want everyone to know who learns it. And Michael is giving Reiki treatments to humans and animals worldwide. So if you want to receive treatments, you go to Michael. If you want to receive attunements, you come to me, because that's great. We don't cross over there.
Yeah, exactly. And I highly recommend Antje as a Reiki teacher. She helped guide me through the whole process. I learned I got all of my attunements from Antje, and she taught me in her own way, and I felt that way resonated very well with me. It was all online, and I like that aspect of it. I find it suited the way I wanted to be taught, and she answered all my questions. She guided me through the whole process, and I highly recommend her as a teacher.
Thank you. And I can highly recommend you as a practitioner, because I've received a treatment and that was pretty mind-blowing. So I can recommend Michael for getting Reiki treatments from him, because that for me was very new, to get a full body treatment via distance, and it really helped a lot for me. Yeah, so I can recommend you for that.
Thank you. And yeah, I only do distance Reiki treatments. You can find them on my website, the different options that I have. And I also do tarot and oracle card readings. If you would like some spiritual guidance, I also offer that. And the different readings I give are also on my website. and you can find that in the link is in my bio.
Yeah, and
And
I'll put the link in the, when I share, I'll put the links in the text so that people can go to your page as well as to mine.
yeah.
And I'll tag you, so you have to agree again. And then everyone can see it on your page and on my page and also get the information.
Yeah. So yeah, Reiki has changed my life in a very positive way. I highly recommend getting attuned to it to help yourself, to help others, animals, to help the world, really. It's a very positive thing, and it changed my life in a positive way, and I think it can help just about anybody. So if you have the inner call to get attuned, then I recommend that you follow it because it's helped me immensely.
Yeah, it has also changed my life. So I learned it because I got treatments back then from my own teacher, naturopath, and so I learned it, and I afterwards also started using it on animals and humans, and it changed my life completely as well. Yeah. So if you feel called, just do it. You can't do anything wrong with it, to be honest.
Yeah, it'll never harm you. That's the big thing about Reiki. It'll never do any harm.
No.
The pretty amazing thing about it is that you don't have to be scared about giving it to anything because it'll always help. It'll never do any harm because it has the intelligence of the universal life force.
Yeah.
And the universe is a pretty intelligent being. You're literally tapping into that, so you really can do no wrong with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Right.
I would say we end it here for today. Thank you for doing this with me.
Thank
If
you for having
anyone has questions, you can message Michael, you can message me, or comment under the post that's going to go up. So yeah, thank you for doing this with me.
Anytime. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And thank you everyone who has been joining and listening. Again, if you have any questions, just connect with us and we are happy to answer them. And I'll put all the links in the post as well to connect with Michael and or with me. So thank you everyone, and hope to see you next time.
Yes.
Bye.
Okay. Bye. Bye, everyone.